You're listening to the Digital Data Café podcast, where we talk about everything data-driven in your world. Join us each week to hear from the world's top business and industry leaders on why using data in a digital world matters. Here's your host, Albert Thompson.
Good afternoon. This is another episode of the Digital Data Cafe. I am your host and CEO of Driven IQ, Albert Thompson. Super pumped and excited here. I'm with Scott Trainor, COO, Chief Operating Officer of the one, the only, the magnificent USA Motor Jobs. Scott, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Albert.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for connecting. You know, it's funny. We were just at Digital Dealer, right? And you guys were exhibiting.
Yeah, we were exhibitor at Digital Data. We met a lot of great stores, and it's actually our first expo we've done since we launched.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's really exciting. So I didn't know it was your first your show. Do you guys plan to exhibit in future shows? Yeah,
we're definitely going to do more. Obviously, when we launched, it was actually the worst timing possible for a career site. We launched 2 months before COVID. So
I can relate.
Yeah. So definitely forget all the shows, but now everything's full throttle and we're out there and we're loving it.
Scott, you know, it's funny that you just said, just kind of off topic for a second, but launching 2 months before COVID. So story that we can relate to, right? With Driven IQ. And again, this is, about you guys, but we launched right about 2 to 3 months before COVID took storm as well. So I always joke and I always say that we're born and bred in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be a whole class of organizations that survived and grew from that. And it's interesting to hear that you guys went through that as well. So
if a startup can not only be born then and survive it, I mean, it shows, shows a promising future. Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, that's going to be a rare class of us, right? Born and bred in the pandemic. So with that said, I think for our listeners here today, why don't you tell them a little bit about, who Scott Trainor is and what's your story? I mean, how did you get to where you are today and how did you get into USA Motor Jobs?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Canada. Our company is actually Canadian. I started in the car industry when I was 19 years old. So I was selling Toyotas. I wasn't exactly quite sure what I wanted to do, so I ended up in the car industry.
Like everybody's story, man.
And then I worked my way up to management. I ended up at a Honda store after, a Mazda store. I was managing those. And I finished my careers in the dealers, directly in the dealers. 12 years after that, I was managing Canada's largest Mercedes-Benz dealer. Wow. I thought I was going to get out of automotive for a bit. My wife was still in automotive. She was working in human resources at BMW store. She got recruited by Canada Motor Jobs. So which then I met the owners, obviously through events, this and that. And then just like Hotel California, we're just the automotive industry, once you can check out, but you can never leave.
There's about 1,000 dealers right now, all relating to that, saying, man, that's my story too. Like, I can't leave because I'm stuck.
Exactly. And then we were all discussing, we all had dinner. They wanted to launch an American version of Canada Motor Jobs, being USA Motor Jobs. And then, of course, I was all in once I heard what it was about. We partnered up and we launched USA Motor Jobs. I'm now down living in Tampa, Florida. I'm loving it down here in the States. And I'm proud to say that I'm becoming more and more American every day.
Oh, no. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad. That's a good thing, I guess. Tampa's beautiful, right? I mean, what do you think of Tampa? Compared to Canada, it's a little warmer.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Funny stories. I had never been down to Tampa or Florida at all in the summer. Every time we used to come down just to get the business going, I was coming down October, November, February, what have you. Well, when we moved down last year, we moved down in 2 years in July. Well, let me tell you, I learned very quickly how hot Florida is in July.
Oh my goodness. It's funny that you brought that up. We might have to talk offline because I'm thinking about making my way down that way too. So Scott, so tell us this, we Canada Motor Jobs, you launched into the US. That's very exciting. I don't think your timing could be more perfect. And I think you and I both know, being in the industry and working with general managers and dealer principals, and one of the biggest pain points, service directors, fixed ops directors, right? We know right now there's a huge, massive pain point with keeping employees, hiring employees, but more importantly, even right now, just as bad as it is getting inventory, it's just as hard to get automotive technicians. What are you seeing out there and why?
Well, definitely the industry. We're not just a vendor. I actually don't like that term. I consider ourselves more industry partners. So we're there actually working with the stores. We're trying to give advice. We're out there in the community trying to bring people into the industry. We're out there with our show cars at the car shows. We're trying to engage people from other industries to register on our platform and connect with the dealers, because we do have a great industry. It's just we need to promote it more. The stigma is gone of the typical what the car salesman or what a mechanic was before. It's completely different now, selling cars, and you're no longer a mechanic, you're a technician. So it's a totally different type of vehicle and everything you're doing. I think we all just need to promote the industry and how much it's evolved to bring in the next generation.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. So I think that's a really good segue for us to talk about the platform itself, right? USA Motor Jobs. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard through the grapevine, some dealers call it the dating site Match.com for jobs. Tell us, how does this work, right? I'm looking for a job. I'm a dealer. What do we got to do here?
We have been referred to, compared to as a dating site in the sense because people are no longer uploading resumes with us. We've made it super simple. Everybody knows what they know best. They know how to build a profile. So the dealerships are building profiles. They're building what they want their ideal candidate to be. They're selling themselves. They're trying to show the compensations, the company's values, etc. And the candidates are actually choosing from a same list that the dealerships are choosing from. So the candidates are going to highlight their experiences, their qualifications, skill sets, their salary expectations, and it's going to show where they match up, how they match up, if anything doesn't, and then they could decide after that if they go for coffee together, meaning the phone interview.
No, that's great. That's great. So, just to kind of make sure that the listeners are following. So essentially, you've got two journeys, right? You've got a dealer journey, right? Where they're going to be able to build out their job profiles, their job listings, set up their job requirements. And then you've got, sounds like the candidate journey, right? Where the candidate's going to then be able to assess themselves, their skills, their traits. And I mean, I take it you guys have some software that connects the dots.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll even rank the candidates for the dealerships. So they'll be able to see live where they rank up compared to the others. And the candidates, even before applying, they're going to be able to see how they match up and where they match up. And it's also going to help the candidates because maybe they forgot to check off a box that they know how to do something, but the dealership posted that they're looking for it. The candidate can go back and edit their profile and say, you know what, I actually do know how to.
So I take it the way that, we're trying to understand this is that, you've got the dealer journey where they can post a job, right? And then it sounds like they can put their requirements and their skills and what they're looking for. And then it sounds like the candidate can actually go in and they can actually list their skills and their assessments. And then you guys have a software, I guess, that connects the dots. Is that how it works?
Yeah, on the dealership side, they're actually able to see how the candidates rank compared to each other based on what they were looking for as a hiring profile. The candidates are actually able to see before they apply where they match up, how they match up. And because nothing's written out, the candidates can actually go back and reselect different qualities that they might have forgotten that they see that the dealership is looking for so that they can highlight their skills and increase their chances of being selected by the dealership and also having the upper hand when it comes down to salaries and all that.
Got it. So quick question for you. And just interesting, to try to kind of follow through this. So are you mostly working with HR departments for big groups, or are you working across the board for independents? I mean, what's your target audience that's working with USA Motor Jobs today?
It's actually very wide who we're working with, and we're very appreciative of it. We have some small independents, we have some small tire shops, we have tire chains, quick lubes, all the way up to your publicly traded dealership groups. So anybody who's looking for anything, we have something for them. And it's not just technicians and sales, anything from a lot attendant to porter, accounting, marketing, any office jobs, anything that's inside of a dealership can be found on USA Motor Jobs.
Well, then, you know what? Good question. And look, I'm going to put you to task here because I'm sure that the users are, the listeners are thinking, tell me this, if I'm an HR manager, why wouldn't I just use Indeed?
That's $1 million question, man. It's a
Right.
very easy explanation. We are automotive dedicated, so we do make a difference.
Okay.
I'm not going to speak poorly about Indeed. They do what they do great. but they're not focused on what's best for the industry. We're out there, we have partnerships with different veterans associations, with trade schools, with high schools. We're out there with the car shows promoting our industry and what's best for it. We're always trying to work with dealers to try and improve the qualities of candidates and trying to attract new people to our specific industry.
That's one of the things that I really like about what you guys are doing. And, Scott, we've been, working together and learning, how you guys are really, building this model out there. And one of the things that we find most exciting about what you're doing is that it's automotive centric, right? It's about the auto dealer, built for the automotive dealer. And I think that speaks volumes, all the way to your marketing strategy from a grassroots efforts, going into those training centers, those schools, right? You're not just top level looking for the person today. You're building long-term network relationships that will have an effect on the industry 2, 5, 10 years from now.
Exactly. Yeah, we're looking the long term, the bigger picture, and we understand that there is a shortage of techs coming up. So we want we want to try solve this, be part of the solving the solution to how are we going to get the next generation into the industry.
Well, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you haven't been too shabby so far. You're north of 1,200 rooftops already?
Yeah, currently we have just over 1,200 rooftops on our portal, and that's growing every day. I mean, the biggest thing I'm telling stores is check us out and try it. It's once the dealerships actually are open-minded, and I love working with dealerships that are forward-thinking and willing to try new things, because once they do come on our platform, they see how easy it is to use, how innovative it is, and then they adopt us very quickly.
Absolutely. So now just a quick question for you, just a couple things here on the actual journey side. So if I'm a candidate, are you guys also conducting the interviews through the site, or is that something that's done on site, or are you just connecting the dots and they're just doing all of that in person?
Yeah, no, we're just, we're not a recruiter and we're not an agency.
Okay.
We're simply providing the portal to connect. And also what the candidates do appreciate is that they're not going from dealer site to dealer site trying to compare and then trying to figure out the wording, how the dealership's selling. We're not biased to one group or another, one brand or another. You build your profile and you get to select. And I always tell the candidates, and when I do get a chance to speak with them, that they all have the upper hand right now, especially in the market. So they can almost interview the dealerships so they can see what fits best for them on our portal, allowing the dealerships to try sell themselves to the candidates, but the candidates always being anonymous the whole time that they're on the portal, obviously, until they apply.
Got it. So the candidates do remain anonymous until they apply. And then once they apply, then you reveal who that identity is to the job provider. And then you connect those profiles then.
Yeah, and it goes actually one step further as well. The candidates' profiles are always anonymous, as I mentioned, but the dealerships can actually view how that anonymous profile would rank up. So the dealership's not going to see any private name, phone number, contact details, or even what stores the candidates are working at, but the dealerships can see how they match up. So the dealerships can actually shop for the candidate and make them offers to come work for them. So the candidates, once again, it's completely anonymous until they apply on a job posting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love the one thing about that you guys are doing from an economic standpoint. You've made it super easy, right, for the consumer. I mean, share with us, right? How much does it cost for a consumer to apply for a job or to look on your site?
So for the candidates, it's always free of charge. There's never any charge. There's never any upsell. Even if they don't, what I suggest is even if they don't create their full profile right away, create a login and just have the job alert set up so that they get notified first when something applies. And it's always free for candidates. We're always on their side.
Well, and that makes perfect sense, right? Because if it's free for the candidates, then they're going to engage. And then the more that engage, the more applicants that will apply for the jobs for the dealerships. And then walk us through the costs and the economics for the dealer.
The dealerships, it's super simple because we truly believe that always recruiting is important for the dealerships. So we wanted to make it much more affordable than posting an ad, what you mentioned indeed, posting a paid ad. The cost for the dealerships is a subscription base of $199 a month per rooftop. Now we also do have discounts and promotions for multiple rooftops, but even at $199 a month, they can post unlimited ads. Meaning if you want to look for a technician, a service advisor, a salesman, manager, an office, you can post it all included in that package.
I mean, only $199 a month. You mean $199 a month plus $10 an application, right?
$199 a month, and yeah, you don't pay for the application. It's simple.
$199 a month. That's it. $199 a month, unlimited. I'm not paying $10 per applicant.
No, there's no additional cost added to that.
That's incredible, man. That's amazing. I got to tell you, I really think you guys are solving some amazing problems. You know, what else would you want the audience to hear? You know, if there's anything else that you could share with the listeners today of Digital Data Cafe, you know, I love what you guys are doing. You're solving some big problems. There's absolutely a need. I mean, I know there's dealers out there right now thinking, man, I need these applicants. What would you want to share with the audience?
Oh, just that we're growing quickly and we're taking a lot more market share. We're getting more known and known. Our goal is to become the go-to source for the automotive industry. We do care. We're industry dedicated. My whole team comes from the automotive industry. So we're not just a tech play. We hired a tech team to do that. We have our own in-house program. Yeah. We truly feel involved in the industry. We advocate for the candidates as much as we try to coach any stores that want to listen in terms of how they can attract the new candidates. So we want to be the go-to source.
I think you guys are on to great things. So if I'm out here and I'm listening and I've got an HR team or I'm a GM or I'm an independent, how do I go about getting started? Or if I'm listening, I'm a sales consultant or a tech and I want to apply, what do I got to do?
It's simple. It's usamotorjobs.com. So it's usamotorjobs with an S.com. Create a login and at least start the candidate's journey. Create a login, set your job notifications, and that way you guys will be notified first. For any dealership that wants to come on, there is an employer section. They can reach out and contact us as well. We'd be glad to get them all set up.
That's great, Scott. Thank you so much and really appreciate you being on the show. Now, listen, you've got to come back in a few months and share with us the success and how many more applicants you've gotten on board. This is great.
All right, will do. Thank you very much for having me, Albert.
I appreciate you being on. Thanks.
All right.